I got nothing left to lose. Broken and bruised, black and blue, still on the move. And I'm showing the world I still got a lot more to prove. Now I'm coming out, swinging for your throat in the ring. Standing there bleeding, yeah, you know what I bring. Know what I mean? Dark when the bell is rung, cause it's a little too late now to tell me run. You're broken every part of me. I'm putting a baby down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher now. Don't fuck with me. Never gonna hold me down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher. The world can't stop me now. Calm before the storm. I was born for more, now you got me ready for war. Remember my name, everybody out of my way. Back up or get knocked out, this ain't a game. Cause I never stay down when they push me around. See the world stand up when they give me the crown. Now it's go time, do or die, dead or alive. You can try to kill me, but I will survive. I will survive. You're broken every part of me. I'm putting that baby down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher now. Don't fuck with me. Never gonna hold me down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher. The world can't stop me now. You can't stop me. Can't stop me. No, 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 you can't stop me. I'm bloodied and I'm beaten down. I keep rising higher, 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 higher. You're broken every part of me. I'm putting a baby down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher now. Don't fuck with me. Never gonna hold me down. I keep rising higher, higher, higher. The world can't stop me now. Can't stop me, no, can't stop me.
What's up, all y'all trickly bastards, and welcome back to It's 17 Arm Somewhere. As always, I'm Athen.
I'm Cameron. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honestly surprised Athen didn't have his mic muted this time. I thought we were going to have a quiet start to the show.
All right. Sometimes that happens.
Sometimes that happens. Okay, I can't view the comments. Good. So, I accidentally logged out last week doing some changes for the Second Amendment Ranch show. You can see that you're at a different angle. You can look at me a little differently. I'm looking at you instead of over here. So it's I was trying to get logged into Carl's StreamYard, and yeah, mine went blank, and I said, log out. No, God damn it. And right now I have Pepper trying to lick me to death. Pepper is the new adage to my family, and she is just so emotionally needy. All the loving she needs. Oh, God. But today we get to start off with some pretty wacky animals. A bear actually chased a ski instructor down a slope at a Romanian resort on March 10th. The resort captured video of the bear chasing him down the slope several minutes before the animal finally fled in the woods. The video recorded at the pre-deal ski resort shows the bear following the skier down the slope for a while, eventually turning back into his home. Officials said the person who filmed it was a ski instructor who was trying to draw the bear away from other skiers and back into the woods. The incident took place just weeks after riders on the chairlifts at the same resort captured video of a bear chasing another skier. Skier in that video was able to escape the bear from by dropping his backpack, which distracted the animal long enough for him to get away. The Romanian Environment Minister Barna Tagzos, I don't know, said officials are considering relocating the bear after the most recent incident, but he is concerned the animal would still pose a danger in another location. He said he is looking into solutions to cope with the country's high population of bears. So, good luck.
Very much good luck.
Very much. Now, imagine going to a zoo and expecting to see the wolf enclosure and being so excited and so happy. But instead of a wolf, it's a domesticated dog. Yeah, that's right. China's wolf enclosure contains only one domesticated dog. On March 8th, a Chinese zoo's wolf enclosure is gaining attention online after a video captured showing a domesticated dog in the enclosure labeled for its wild canine cousins. A video posted to Chinese social media by the visitor to the Zhang Wushan Zoo in Zhejiang, Hubei province shows the dog, which appears to be a Rottweiler, resting in the cage labeled as the wolf exhibit. The filmer said a zoo employee told him there used to be a wolf in the cage, but it died of old age. An official with the Forestry Bureau office of Zhejiang City said the zoo told authorities the dog was being temporarily housed in the wolf enclosure to prevent people from trying to sneak into the zoo by scaling the wall into the habitat. The official said the zoo has now been asked to remove signs from the enclosure that identify it as a wolf.
Well, that's interesting. So, but probably they're lying about what was in there. They probably actually just put it in there. Like, nobody will know.
Yeah, nobody can tell the difference between a Rottweiler and a real wolf. Like, we shouldn't use a husky or a breed that looks a little closer to wolves. No. That doesn't make any sense. Use the Rottweiler. Let's put Gunny in a kennel and call that a wolf.
People would break in to try to eat it.
Yeah. I mean, it is China. Now, we all know geese are giant assholes, right? That's not up for debate. We're good with that statement right there. This Canadian goose decided he was going to occupy center field during a Major League Baseball game.
Ah.
Yep, and I am sorry, but as soon as that goose comes onto that field, he's playing. Nope, you can stay. I ain't screwing with you, dude. There was a Hispanic guy that called them an angry chicken cobra because he didn't know the actual word for geese. Yes.
Dude, freaking, I remember a run-in I had with a goose, and it wasn't even a Canadian goose. It was one of the big white ones. Like, it was at the London Bridge in Havasu City, Arizona, and I was on a boat underneath the bridge, and all these geese were in the water, and there were ducks too, and we were throwing bread out to them, and the geese came over the boat, and I was like, oh wow, the geese are friendly. So I went, thought maybe I could try to pet the goose, and the goose just went freaking psycho on me and bit me and freaking drew blood and all kinds of crap. I was like, oh, I got jumped by a goose.
Yeah, no, they are never friendly. They are just assume all geese are assholes and you'll be fine. The Canadian goose stole the show during a spring training game in Arizona when the bird refused to give up its position in center field. The Cactus League game between the Chicago Cubs and the Arizona Diamondbacks in Scottsdale on Sunday saw a Canadian goose take up position in center field and refused to budge, causing a distraction for both teams. The game went forward with the goose standing on the field. The game cameras recorded the game, captured the moment the goose was involved in an altercation with a second goose, leading to a mid-air beak attack that left one of the birds with a mouthful of feathers. Yeah. So geese are assholes. Don't screw with geese. Now, this man sparked outrage as he grabbed a seagull that tried to eat his chips. And I can't fault him. I'm a fat guy too, and if you try and steal my food, I'm gonna retaliate. But apparently people are upset that this man decided he was going to grab the seagull. After a night out in town, Taylor from New Zealand decided to pick up food in a bid to cure the inevitable hangover. As he sat down to enjoy the tasty-looking McDonald's, he was surrounded by seagulls, and somehow his quick reflexes saw him grab one of the birds before it got to his food. He captured the moment and posted it to TikTok, where he is known as Taylor Stick Tack, thinking it was pretty funny at the time, and it quickly racked up more than 22.4 million views. So that's what we got to do to be famous. We just got to snatch birds out of men.
I mean, the seagull wouldn't be that hard. But to answer Dean's comment over there, no, a white goose. One of those, a white goose, not a swan. So, but and no, I don't think geese are protected like that. There was a comment there questioning, are geese protected? I don't believe so, because you can hunt them.
Yeah, I don't think geese are actually protected.
Like, maybe if you killed one out of season, you'd get in trouble because they're a game bird. So they're protected in that sense, I guess. But I mean,
yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see them that being a problem. But as far as I know, geese should be fair game. But on that, pigeons apparently are a protected bird, with only around 500,000 of the species estimated to live in the country over there. Video quickly caught the attention of New Zealand's Department of Conservation, and they aren't happy. Department of Conservation Otago Operations Manager Annie Wallace told the Otago Daily News how disappointed she was when that went viral. She said tarpunga are protected under the Wildlife Act, meaning it is illegal to disturb, harass, or kill them, and those who do face fines or imprisonment. I don't care. Pigeons are not as big as assholes as geese. Geese will actually attack you. But if I'm eating, I've seen plenty of pigeons that just don't care, and they'll come snatch your ice cream, your French fries, your potato chips, whatever the hell you're eating. They will come and grab your food and fly off. I don't care. You are being an asshole to an asshole. Who's going to win this fight?
I mean, in that sense, if a bird comes up and tries to snatch your food and you swat them or you grab them out of the air, that can typically be just kind of, he tried to eat my food.
Yeah, I did stuff to protect what I bought. I let him go. He wasn't hurt. He was just a little surprised that I caught him. Let it go. Be like Elsa. Jesus. With how soft some of you snowflakes are, you think that would be your motto right there.
That was weird. So, it was doing that to me during ATF too. Huh. So Dawn kept getting disconnected for some strange reason. I'm not really sure why. So.
That's not good. Now imagine why am I getting a lot of echo now?
That is weird.
Okay, that was it stopped now. Okay, what the hell? I don't know. Your computer is cursed and haunted and has all the ghosts.
Something like that.
Imagine trying to promote your restaurant, and in order to do that, you sit in a giant pool of bean dip.
I mean, do I at least get a giant bag of Doritos?
I mean, I'm sure you could. I wouldn't want to. He spent 24 hours sitting in that pool. So you're only going to have like an hour or two of good eating time. And I'm not like a huge fan of bean dip. I would do that with like salsa, but if you got a hole in your coveralls or your waders, whatever you're using to protect your skin with something that's got a lot of hot to it, a lot of capsaicin, if that were to work its way to personal areas, anywhere that's a hole might be an open wound, something like that. I don't think that would be too pleasant.
I mean, so if we're talking about like Mexican restaurants, that little like plate of like the runny beans that they bring out. I love that as far as bean dip goes.
I'm not.
They got nice crumble of cotija cheese on there. I'll wreck some of that. Mix it with the salsa.
We have a place in Porter Conroe area that's got some amazing salsa. It's a cilantro salsa. Oh god, that stuff is crack. But it's an hour drive now, so it's not.
Well, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I miss it. But on March 10th, the California stuntman spent 24 hours sitting in a pool of bean dip to promote his Los Angeles area restaurant that had suffered losses from the COVID-19 pandemic. Hunter Ray Barker said he climbed into the wading pool filled with bean dip. Now imagine how much money you got to drop on bean dip to fill a wading pool, man. Like, hey, we're going to do this stunt to try and get publicity and get people back to our restaurant. But we're going to have to drop $5,000 worth of money on bean dip.
Hey.
I mean, I imagine you spent probably $800 or $900 to fill that. Even still.
Refried beans will forever be known as runny beans. Okay, but I mean, the ones that they serve you on the plate, they're not like typical refried beans. They're like they're a more blended, more like actual runny mashed version of beans. Yeah, it's hard. I'm not very good at explaining it because refried beans, even like in a burrito at a Mexican restaurant, you're still getting the beans and getting all that stuff. This dip is more of like a puree.
Getting fancy with your words over there, Athen. It's the puree.
Call it a bean chutney.
Oh God. Let's see what y'all started. It's a chutney. It's a puree. Bean flambe.
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
Turducken. It's turducken, and I've never actually had it.
No, it looks good though. But he climbed into the bean dip wading pool outside Los Toros Mexican restaurant in Chatsworth at 3 p.m. Monday because he wanted to support the restaurant, which he described as one of his favorites for years. Oh, so it's not even his restaurant. Baker's
I think I remember Los Toros restaurants. They're actually pretty good.
Baker's 24-hour tenure in the pool coincided with a block party at the eatery, which featured the stuntman receiving a tattoo of the restaurant's logo while sitting in the dip. I know you just want attention. Obviously, a stunt like this is ridiculous. It's absurd. It's wild. But as with any stunt, I'm always in favor of something that edges on the side of absurdity if I can relate it. And it makes at least a couple of people laugh. If we can get more attention and turn a few more people into lifelong customers, that's what I love about it too. So not only did he sit in the pool filled with beans, he got a tattoo of the restaurant's logo while he was in the bean dip.
That's a committed fan.
That I think that dude needs to eat free for life for that.
I mean, yeah. But even then, and that might be his ultimate goal is then you get some free food out of this. I don't know that there's a restaurant that I like enough to get it tattooed on my body. But Yeah,
I can tell you there's not one good enough for me to tattoo on my body.
it
My
said,
body is reserved for tattoos that I enjoy, not free publicity for you.
hopefully he didn't recycle the bean dip for the patrons the next day. Yeah,
Imagine if porn stars got sponsors and had to get tattoos, man. Like, imagine that you're watching this chick and she's got like Nike right here on her back. She's got Walmart.
There's actually a freaking YouTube channel that I follow. One of the people on one of the shows on the channel actually did, in fact, get a Dodge emblem tattooed on him. He was paid by Dodge to do it. It was like an actual, like, he legitimately paid for advertising space on his body, and he's sponsored by Dodge. It's a call. The channel is Donut Media. They do a bunch of car videos talking about all kinds of car stuff. It's actually a pretty cool channel. But
that I can kind of, with how much they would do car videos, that one I can kind of understand a little bit. But just having a random restaurant on your arm that I just love. Again, it's like a porn star getting, formula brands tattooed on them. Like, make sure your kid drinks this. Like, what? Why?
Infamous.
Yeah, why? Why would you do that?
So we got some stuff going on in the comments over here. Let's see. Shelly Rich King said Mickey has had duck sausage. Mickey Severson says Shelly Rich King once many moons ago. Dean's asking if that's a pug with asthma or someone cutting down a tree with a 2-man crosscut saw. I think he's talking about your dogs.
No, I think Pepper might have kennel cough. It's gotten better. She's not doing it as much. She could also be doing it for attention. She's more needy than Gunny, believe it or not. She needs to have somebody loving on her almost 24. I can almost understand why the owner surrendered her, but she's just the sweetest little thing.
So, in the whole duck sausage comment reminded me of a line from a show. He was like, 5 pounds of squirrel sausage. May not sound like a lot. That's a lot of squirrels.
That's a lot of squirrels. 5 pounds. You might get a pound of meat. You might get a pound of meat off a big squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
So even still, that's 5 squirrels. And that's if you get hefty, big old boy squirrels. But you're looking probably closer to like 10 or 15 squirrels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's okay. Moving on. This woman claims her boyfriend. Oh, I gotta brush your skin again. You shed so much. This woman claims her boyfriend is a roller coaster and that she has kids with him. Yeah.
Her boyfriend is a roller coaster.
I always seem to find the crazies. Gail Engel from France says she shares the kids with the theme park attraction. Miss Engel says she has been sexually attracted to objects since her teens, and as an adult, she has become fascinated with roller coasters. When she was 38, the artist found herself developing a strong romantic bond with a German ride. She became fixated on the Sky Scream roller coaster at Holiday Park in Haslock, Rhineland-Palatinate. I hate doing. Foreign countries have some of the most jacked up stories we can find that can kind of compete with Florida Man, but their names are so difficult to really pronounce. So forgive me about that. I try. Most of the time, there have been a few I'm like not even gonna, but I do actually try. Her attraction to the sun. Yeah,
I was gonna say, just like earlier when you were pronouncing that name of the town in China, you were calling it Xiang. I'm pretty sure it's called Jing. But
Xiannae.
Yeah, I think that's because the X is either like a CH or a G sound in Chinese. I don't know, but
I thought it was a Z. Yeah. whatever. Her attraction to the Sky Scream is so strong that Gail believes it's her true love. You could say that I'm sexually drawn to roller coasters, but since I met Sky Scream roller coaster, I understood what love was. Gail admits when it comes to dating humans, she's never had much luck. However, she has had 3 serious relationships in the past. The artist said, I will not philosophize on these relationships that ruined my life, but it was only suffering, physical and moral. The men I dated had a lot of issues with alcohol, and it was a very hard time with me. But with the Sky Scream, I feel completely confident. Sadly, meeting up with her roller coaster boyfriend, it's not an easy task for Gail, and she is unable to have any kind of sexual relationship with the ride. Instead, the artist collects objects that represent him as a reminder of their bond. Some of these items include a photo board of the Sky Scream, as well as a pillow printed with a picture of the roller coaster. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is kind of related, however, unrelated. As like, I'm seeing this a lot. Like, she's saying how like all her previous relationships were, you know, people who had alcohol problems and was abusive. It's like almost every single woman you talk to, they're always going to say how their ex was abusive. I just find that to be curious. Like,
well, look at country music. How many country singers sing about previous relationships? Taylor Swift. And they bitch their ex was toxic. Women always bitch their ex was toxic. I hope he I hope she cheats. Slashed his tires, took a baseball bat to his headlights. You know, different shit like that. When a guy has sang about a woman, it is like, oh, she was the love of my life. I'm hurt. You know, I miss her. Shit like that. You rarely, I can't think of one song where a guy was like, no, there's one, Getting Even. But that was like a revenge story where she cheated on him and he was going out to go and screw all of her friends. So
Wheeler Walker Jr., fuck you, bitch.
Okay, so 2 that we can think of off the top of our head. But as far as like women singing songs about their exes, there's way more than we have time to actually go into. So yeah, there's food for thought right there. Now I can't understand. There's a lot of like really bad guys out there, and ladies that's really on y'all, because I find that a lot of y'all like to date douchebags.
And that might be what the trend is about. Why there's so many women saying their ex was abusive and all that, because women seem to tend to gravitate towards that.
Douchebags.
Yeah.
Very much. So that's less of, oh, all guys are the same. No, you just like to date the same. Stop trying to find crazy and find somebody that's a little healthy for you. And then wasn't there like Stevie Nicks, who broke up with her boyfriend and then made him continue to play guitar for her band?
Yeah,
and
that's what Dean
sing.
literally
She was
just
sing. Oh, yeah. And then she kept singing like songs, talking shit about him as he's playing the song for her. Like, you want to talk about toxic? That was toxic.
Yeah.
Can't convince me otherwise. So instead of complaining that, oh, all guys are the same, all guys are assholes, all guys are alcoholics, I drink like once in a blue moon now. I'm still single, so hi. It's because I'm an asshole to people that deserve to be treated like shit, not women. But that does not mean you should go and date roller coasters. And I can imagine how hard it would be. Like, how are you going to have any kind of intimacy with a roller coaster? You're going to rent the whole park out for a day? You know, how is that going to... Like, the dolls, we've covered the dolls before. You can get them in your home. You can strap objects to them. There was the Ukrainian guy that just married a sex doll, so he was ready to go. But like the woman that married the zombie child doll, if y'all don't remember that one, this woman in Austria, something, married a zombie child. Yes, a zombie child. Had an actual event and everything. And like how can you justify having a sexual relationship with a zombie doll, but two, the only effective way to have any kind of intimacy with said zombie doll is to strap certain objects to that zombie doll.
Well, and then there was also the dude who like got married to the sex doll. But you know what? In his defense, if you actually kind of go and look at some of these modern freaking high dollar sex dolls, I mean, I'm just saying.
That dude spent some money on that relation. That dude, he had an actual like legitimate wedding where there was like 30 or 50 people, had champagne for everybody, had a huge cake. Like that was the zombie one was kind of a small little like they had somebody to do the vows, and then like one or two guests, and it was in the backyard. But the dude that married the sex doll, they had like a huge like legitimate marriage ceremony, and then he cheated on her with a real woman. Go figure.
Those real women, they always got to get in the way.
God damn you, real women. Why are you so attractive and do that thing I like?
Yes. Well, but yeah, he said, didn't he get married to the doll and then get depressed because he cheated on it? Yeah, he cheated on it with a real woman.
He did get depressed about that. And then the reason why he cheated was he broke her, so he had to go send her for repairs. And while she was getting repaired, he went and found real relations with another woman, an actual woman. So,
and
that's like a woman getting cut. Like I've only ever seen. This is the first dude I've seen get depressed about cheating. Normally, when I see this, this is my opinion. When I see somebody getting depressed that they were cheating, was the woman got caught cheating. She lost her mind. She's bitching. You don't trust me. This is why we have relationship problems. This is why I found somebody else to comfort me. You know, all this crap and excuses. Like that's normally when I see those problems, not with a dude. Like a dude gets caught cheating and is like, "Hey, you caught me. All right, bye." Women get caught cheating and they try and play the victim. This dude got caught cheating by, I guess, his friends. And oh man, I feel so bad. It's a doll.
I was legitimately actually I was going to mention this myself before Dean posted it. He's like in our brains for some reason. He's like, did he send her to a doctor or a factory? You know, when he broke her and he had to get her fixed. I was like sitting there thinking, I was like,
He had to send her to a factory. In fact, he had to send her to a factory twice because the first time he wanted her to get augmentation. So there you go. I don't know how he broke her this time. I wish I did. We covered that article a month ago.
I think so, something like that.
It's been a minute since we covered that one. They didn't explain how he broke her. They just covered the fact that he broke her, and then cheated on her. So yeah, all relationships have problems, even when it's with an inanimate object.
Yep.
I mean, you could just be normal and want to have a relationship with a real person, but you know, no. Why would you want to do that? Moving on. Wisconsin, or as some of y'all like to call it, Wisconsin. Show me the A in Wisconsin. When you can show me there's an A in Wisconsin, I'll call it Wisconsin. But until that day, it's Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Con. C-O-N.
Wisconsin.
Con. C-O-N makes that con sound. C-A-N makes that can sound.
Speaking of Texas, did you hear about McConaughey?
No, I didn't.
Matthew McConaughey wants to run for governor of Texas.
If I remember right, he's actually pretty conservative.
I don't know. We covered it on ATF. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey's considering running for governor of Texas.
If I remember right, he is actually he's actually one of the more conservative actors out there right now. I'd have to look into it. If he's the one I'm thinking of, I wouldn't mind him running.
All right.
all right. It's all good, man. Thankfully, we still have Dan Crenshaw.
Mm-hmm.
So, but moving on, Wisconsin. And we covered an article like this recently. I swear, some people just do stupid shit like this to be made fun of on at 1700 somewhere. Because we did cover something like this quite a while back now. But state troopers, and this was the first one was in Canada, if I remember right. This time, instead of it being a steel folding chair, somebody decided to get a camping chair, the ones that fold up, collapse, go in the bag. They decided it would be a good idea to use that to drive around. That's right. So, state trooper in North Carolina, North Central region stopped this pickup truck for an equipment violation. On his approach, the trooper noticed the vehicle was not equipped with seats, and the driver was seated in a camping chair. Troopers then posted the photo on Twitter explaining that the vehicle had to be stopped by the trooper. Vehicle was pulled over for the equipment violation. On his approach, he noticed that the seats and the driver was sitting in was a camping chair. Tweet did not say whether the driver was ticketed or given a warning.
What was the initial violation he was pulled over for again?
They're just saying it was an equipment violation. Like, how did you know he did not have chairs? How did you know he was in a camping chair? Because normally trucks sit a little higher than most police vehicles. So I imagine, like, if you're doing something stupid like that, you're not speeding, you're not running red lights, you're not doing rolling stop signs. You're following the law to a T to avoid being pulled over and having your truck impounded.
Unless the truck itself just appeared to be in such a form of ill repair that he was like, this vehicle cannot be safe to be on the road.
Which I've seen a lot of vehicles that are on the road that are not safe to be on the road, yet they're still there.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. Like, how do you catch these guys that even I couldn't tell that it's a camping chair, but the dude with the caved in back end, busted out taillights is still fine? Oh, your hatch doesn't close in the back? It's fine. You don't need to see out of your rear view mirror. It's okay.
Well, technically, you only need to have a clear out of 2.
Oh, I know, but still having that thing slam around and flop all over the place, especially if you're hauling something. Good Lord. If you want to haul something, if you get a bunch of 2x4s and you've got a car, call a buddy with a truck, please. Please. Be that guy that's an asshole for 5 minutes. Call your friend that has a truck so he can come and pick up your concrete, your 2x4s, your plywood, something. Don't let it hang 8 feet out the back of your car.
Or you can go to Home Depot and rent one for $20.
Yeah. Like, please. I can't tell you how many times I've seen stupid shit because instead of being the guy that's an asshole and calls for a truck or rents a truck, they try and load a car up. I've seen people hanging their arms outside the windows holding 2x4s. I've seen that. One buddy in front, one buddy in back. They're holding it out the side. I've seen people do that on the roof. They've got one person on the driver's side, one in the back. Drivers holding like this. Passengers holding like this. I think the worst one I ever experienced is this car thought he could haul all the materials they needed to repair this house on a car. They had a pallet of plywood, so, a stack about 2.5, 3 feet tall of plywood. They had 2 rows of 2x4s, so 20, 30 2x4s, enough to go along the plywood twice, so 2 stacks of that. And then they had 20 bags of concrete, 80-pound bags, thinking this car suspension was designed to handle that.
Well, this is like a story I think I had pop up during the show like a week or two ago. It was after the show. Like there was an accident with a truck that like 15 people were killed in or something like that. And it was saying that there was 27 people in the vehicle. It was like one head-on collision. It's like once you get that much weight into a vehicle, it's going to make it unsafe. Like
it gets better. So the plywood got loaded. This was at the Home Depot. I worked at Lowe's that time. We were competitors, but we always talked shit and who had the worst stories, right? They won with this one, hands down. We couldn't compete with this. They got the plywood loaded. They got the 2x4s loaded. They grabbed the pallet, set the pallet of concrete on top, and slowly, carefully, gently placed this concrete down. And the owner kept saying, yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Got it down, pulled out. And as soon as he got in his car to take off, shit. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. There goes your suspension, your axle, your tires. Darwin
Award?
Darwin Award.
Was there a Darwin Award awarded for that one?
No, this was before we created the Darwin Award.
Oh, okay.
This was 2010.
Okay.
Oh, God, 10 years ago. Oh, I'm getting old. Oh, God, I'm getting old. But yeah, be the guy that calls your buddy. Be that asshole. Please, just please. Annoy him, buy him beer, buy him pizza, and then call it good.
Or do like Dean and I said.
And by the way, but my question is, who decided beer and pizza was an acceptable payment for helping somebody move?
People who like beer and pizza?
Because I don't agree with that. I want money. I want gas. I want to not do this. I have had to help my brother move him and his friends like 3 times, and I can't even get my brother to help me move once. Like, you owe me more than beer and pizza. That is not an acceptable form of payment for an event that is taking all day. I digress. Back to stories. Back to the articles, not the story. Now, I'm sure some of y'all have seen this. A passenger was caught on now a viral video showing her not only assaulting a driver who is in South Asia, but coughing on him. And then just for good measure, in a moment not filmed, she pepper sprayed him, almost grabbed his phone, and they ripped his mask off because he asked her to wear a mask while he was Ubering her. Now, if you haven't, this is the full topic of entitlement. Like, if you get my car and I'm an Uber, I tell you to get out, you need to get the hell out of my damn car, because I will paint my truck red with your insides. If I tell you to leave, I get it. I'm an Uber. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to get you where you're going. But if you're an asshole or a bitch and you don't want to comply with my rules of my vehicle, I ain't going to sit there and scream at you like some dude. I'm going to sit here quietly. I'm going to be nice. And you're going to hear 2 sounds. Get out of my car. No. Get out of my car. No. Get out of my car. Okay? And that's the end of discussion. That's it. I'm done, because I don't want you in here anymore. But the 3 women can be seen in the back seat berating and cursing at Kadka as his car sits on a highway shoulder. And at one point, the woman without the mask coughs on him and grabs at his cell phone from the center dash and then rips the mask off of his face. Let's see if this video actually works. All right, it's going to work. So we're going to show you this. Oh, Athen, you need to pull that up.
Now at 11 and streaming on CBSN Bay Area, a Bay Area Uber driver says he asked his passengers to wear a mask, and then things got ugly. KPIX5's Betty Hughes spoke with that driver this evening. Betty?
And Liz, this is just the latest attack against an Asian victim here in the Bay Area who feels like he was harassed and mocked because of his race. Tonight, San Francisco police say they're investigating this case. The video begins with the passenger taking off her mask and coughing. Another woman laughs and coughs. The woman steals the driver's phone and rips off his mask while they insult and threaten him.
I never said anything bad to them. I never cursed. I was not raised that way. I don't hit people. I am not raised that way. So they were not getting out of my car.
Driver Subhakar Kartka says his nightmare began Sunday afternoon. He picked up the three women in the Bayview on San Bruno Avenue. When he noticed one woman wasn't wearing a mask, he says he asked her to put one on. He says he drove to a nearby gas station so she could buy one. But by then, he says the racial slurs and taunting had already begun.
Are you stupid?
You guys are animals to treat all the human being like this.
And that wasn't the worst of it. He says after they eventually got out of the car, the woman in red.
So she pepper sprayed inside my car from the passenger window that was open a little bit.
Kartka says he came to the U.S. 8 years ago and works hard to support his family in Nepal. He believes he was targeted because of his race.
If I was of another complexion, I would have not gotten that treatment from them. I am pretty sure. The moment I open my mouth to speak, they realize I'm not among one of them. It's easy for them to intimidate me.
And the driver says after repeated asks, Uber gave him $120 in cleaning funds to clean up his car, but still it is not sufficient rather. Tonight, in a statement to KPIX5, Uber said the behavior in the video is appalling. The rider no longer has access to Uber. Liz?
Every day we see another one of these horrible attacks. It has to stop, as it's so difficult.
I agree. It needs to stop. I want to let y'all know. He says, I won't hit you. I wasn't raised that way. I'm sorry. I wasn't raised that way. My parents always tried to tell me to be pacifist, use your words, be polite. But these hands rated E for everybody.
So I'm going to call one thing. Like so you could see there are little things in that whole story that kind of they did on purpose. One, the reporter that was doing it was an Asian woman. I'm fairly certain they did that on purpose. Yep. And two, the driver, while yes, technically some Indians are in fact Asian, and I would say he's probably from the Asian parts of India. I'm going to go out there and say really calling an Indian an Asian person is kind of a bit of a stretch. I mean, an Indian person, I would just typically call them an Indian person because it's more of a, yeah. So, but yeah, no, I agree. The racism in that generally, considering it all is just freaking stupid. And I don't understand why.
No, I'm telling you, get a gun, give them the 2 click noises. And then if they refuse at that point in time, just reach behind you. You can see a little something right here on the camera. Just reach behind you a little bit and pull that trigger a few times. You'll hit one of them. With how snug they were, you'll hit one of them. That's all it's going to take. and then they're going to lose their mind, call the cops. Cops are going to come. Cops are going to side with you because you're in your property. They refuse to get out. You have video evidence. They refuse to get out. They were harassing me. They snatched my mask. They tried to steal my phone. So at that point in time, assault, theft, battery, yeah, you're justified in doing what you need to do. So that's a Second Amendment ranch topic.
So Gene Wazobo, yes, they are. So there are part of India is on the Asian continent. Yes, so technically they are in fact Asians. But I'm feeling, because you don't often hear Indian people referred to as Asians. I know technically, depending on geographically where they're from, they are Asians, yes, and all that stuff. So, but I'm just saying, I'm feeling as though they were using the Asian moniker in that entire situation for the buzzword, the trigger word on it. So, as opposed to just saying an Indian person, they're saying an Asian person to cover that right there, because it's going to get more. I feel as though it would get more attention if they're saying an Asian person versus an Indian person. Honestly.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. Do I agree with them doing it though? No, I don't. That's playing the race card. But we all know the mainstream media loves playing that race card.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be that stupid individual that tries to harass somebody in their car, especially in Texas or Florida, any red state. It's a really bad day for you. Moving on, we got a couple minutes, so I'm gonna hold off on starting the OSHA violations just
cool.
yet.
I haven't been getting any OSHA violations lately.
I had to hunt some down today, and they're not the best that I could find. But I got a couple. Getting OSHA violations is a task because they don't like showing people stupid things. They want to show people to do the right thing. Whereas we here on It's 1700 like to make fun of the stupid people doing stupid things. So we go against what OSHA wants to do greatly.
Well, if I knew how to actually get the video, because it's only been popping up recently when I'm watching YouTube. It's a local solar service company, and it's a YouTube commercial, right? Pops on at the beginning of every single video, and usually in mid-roll commercials. But it's the owner of the company. He's at the top of the ladder on a roof. He stands there. He's like, "You may wonder why I'm standing at the top of the ladder. It's kind of unsafe, filming a selfie video." And there's a dude walking across the roof behind him carrying solar panels, not freaking tied off or anything like that. And I'm like, you're filming all kinds of freaking OSHA violations here.
The best way I could say to do that would be continue watching through YouTube before the show, like get on an hour before the show. And then once you think you found the right video, pause the commercial and then just do the share screen from there and let it play.
That's a good idea.
Because a commercial you really can't download. But you can just stop it and then share the screen and let it run. But we're going to cover this story, and then we're going to get into our OSHA violation for the day, and then we're going to continue on from there. A Virginia research studying whether chili-infused beer is the world's spiciest. Why would you want spicy beer?
I mean, it depends on what kind of beer it is, because you do get a lot of your Mexican type beers that you'll put like chili powder around the edge of the glass when you're drinking and stuff like that. And sometimes you'll drop like Tabasco or Tapatio in it. So,
okay. Well, on March 11th, a pair of alumni and students from Virginia's University of Mary Washington are attempting to obtain a Guinness World Record for brewing the world's spiciest beer. Ray Parrish, who obtained his degree in physics from the university in 1991, is now co-owner of the Maltese Brewing Company in Fredericksburg, which produces Single One 2.0 beer, a pineapple IPA infused with 500 Carolina Reaper chilies.
Holy crap.
No! Parrish said he discovered the Guinness World Records does not currently have a record for the world's spiciest beer, so he decided to originate the record by measuring Signal 1's 2.0's heat, but he needed help. The brewer reached out to Sarah Smith, a 2012 graduate, who is now a visiting professor in UMW's Department of Chemistry and Physics. Smith brought junior biochemistry major Valerie Abenki onto the team. The trio said they are using the Scoville Heat Index, a unit of measurement that calculates chili heat, and attempting to determine the brew's concentration of heat including chemicals capsaicin and dihydrocapsaicin. The researchers said their findings will be submitted to Guinness mid-March, and they expect to hear back within a few months. Weather Signal 1 2.0 is indeed the world's Guinness World Records.
Okay.
500. I just want to 500 Carolina Reapers.
It might work for a chelada too.
Richie, where's Richie? Richie, we found you a beer, man. Richie, we found your beer. It's the only bastard I know of that would actively want to drink that beer.
Yeah, I don't do well with spicy stuff. Like I'll try some of the spicy challenges, but because on 17,
I like spicy. I do, but I am not. I have drank Tabasco, but I'm not going to drink it. When I drink beer, I want to relax, unwind, calm down, enjoy my day. Not why is it spicy?
On 1700 somewhere, like a year, I'd say maybe 2 years before you joined, we actually did the Reaper challenge. This is when the Reaper first came out, and I didn't do it, but Desiree and one of our old co-hosts, they actually ate a Carolina Reaper on air.
No.
So that was some crazy stuff.
We better get like 50 new followers for me to do that shit.
So
I enjoy spicy. I will do challenges, but there better be a reward at the end of that challenge. So bullshit. Why would I want a spicy beer? Just give me a Budweiser.
I mean, they'll work for a chelada too. I mean, maybe not Carolina Reaper spicy. That's simply just a challenge beer. But like any other form of like spicy beer like that would probably be good for a chelada.
That's a good question. Why is your beard not pink?
I don't know.
All right, Athen. Time for our OSHA violations. You're gonna have to pull that up real quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't play with StreamYard right now. So, how you gonna get up into that ladder?
Climb up the bucket.
Exactly. You're gonna have to climb up here while the operator's in here. Climb up this arm, climb up here, and then you can get on the ladder, which isn't even all the way to the top, not tied off. So,
or you could have been in the bucket with the ladder and you got lifted up there, and then you put the ladder up so you could then get on top of the wall.
Either way, it's all an OSHA violation. Either way you do this, it's a giant OSHA violation. Several, in fact. Which, by the way, we have an OSHA violation posted at my job right now. Apparently, they did something to screw up. And I'm like, I thought y'all had OSHA in your pocket. Apparently, they still have to write you a incident report every now and again. Because we still have a lot of violations. Oh, we still got a lot of violations. Yeah, don't be this guy. Now, there's
He's
a
standing
lot.
on.
He's one leg's on the outside, one leg's on the inside, which that's
He's not tied off.
He's not even wearing a harness. Not tied off is the least of my concerns right now. He has nothing to tie off with.
Mm-hmm.
So if he falls, he's going bye-bye. He's done, because looking at that photo, judging by how high that steel beam is, he's probably 30 feet plus off the ground. Because those lifts can't get up. I got up on one of those lifts, and it was about, I want to say, 50 feet. And when you get up that high, it moves. It moves a lot. We had to do a elevator shaft, and we needed to see how we would get into the lift or how we would get into the elevator shaft itself, see if there was anything that was going to block the top, because we did have to drop ladders or stairwells down into it. And it's when you get up that high, any movement you make is just magnified greatly. So if you sneeze, you're swaying 10 feet each way. It's terrifying, man. It makes your butthole pucker. I would not be this guy at all.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing here looks smart to me.
What is he standing on? It looks like he's standing on like the bar of the.
He's standing. You see these bars right here? This goes all the way around, except for your entry point, which is usually in the middle here or on one of these sides. So it could be on this side over here, this far side. And he's standing on this bar. Now, these bars aren't rated for you to stand on. They're designed very similarly to like running boards for walkways when you're installing buildings. How we've talked about, top one's got to be rated to like 250 pounds, 225. Next one down's like 200, 210. Bottom one's like 125. They're not designed for you to stand on. They do have a cross pin where you hook into in the corners here, and sometimes they'll have an area to connect up to like here. There's a little bar you can clip into, but they are not meant for weight to be pushing down on them. And in fact, if you got caught on any of the job sites I've done, either standing on the bar or not tied off, you'd be sent home for the day. You're done. So I would tell this dude, go home.
I think it really depends on like the level of oversight on the job site, which is going to depend on how hardcore they are on all this stuff. Because like the job sites I worked on were, it wasn't union stuff. It wasn't union company. It wasn't, you weren't a union worker. You were, I wasn't even subcontractor. I was an employee working for a framing contractor who was, contracted through a general contractor. So we didn't have OSHA rolling around very often, and we
typically, for those, you won't see OSHA often. You still can get hit with OSHA violations, but the odds of them going to your job sites versus the job sites I was doing, it's a huge difference. They will actively go to our job sites. They'll kind of look at yours because you were doing houses. We were doing like schools.
Yeah.
So when you start working and playing with steel beams versus 2x4s and 2x6s and stuff like that, they're a little more anal.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't have to worry as much. We saw this stuff all the time, man. This was not uncommon. Well, we'd be tied off. I've done it. I did this several times because you couldn't get the lift into the bar joists at an angle where you could actually get yourself up there. So you would have to, and underneath they were always like, well, you need to get the lift up there so you can get in and out onto the steel safely. Like, well, once the bar joists are up, you really can't. So you'd look down real quick. All right, no foremans, no bosses. We got to get up on the steel. You'd unclip real quick, get your beamer, get your cable, ran up, clipped on. So you're clipped onto the steel, and you look again, and then you hop up real fast. OSHA violations happen every day. Every day. Every job site you look at, there's at some point in time during that day, there's at least one OSHA violation. And here's the last one for the day.
Is that just corrugated steel?
That is corrugated steel. That's exact. That's roofing, right? That's what we use for roofing. And I'll tell you, that stuff is flimsy as hell.
Yes.
It's sharp as a knife, so it will cut you quick. And it's not meant to be walked on that large of a gap. You can do it. I wouldn't do it on something that's only wide enough for you to walk like that. I would use a full sheet. Usually those sheets are anywhere from 4 to 6 feet wide. That one looks like it's only 1.5 feet, 2 feet wide. And once you've cut into it, you have severely reduced its structural property.
I'm just
heated it up. It's no.
There's got to be a board beneath it or something.
Yeah, well, if you look at these boards right here, they're underneath this steel. So even if there is a board running right here, it's 4-6 inches dropped below it. So yeah, it might shift down onto that board, but he's not tied off. They're not even wearing any harnesses up there.
Doesn't seem to be that horribly far off the ground, but still, I just don't see.
Here's your reference point. This is gonna be a lifted scissor lift, and it looks like he's sitting above that right now. And normally those go up to eye level with me, so 6 feet tall for a smaller one. So he's a minimum of 8 feet off the ground right here.
So, I mean, I'm thinking he's thinking if he falls, he could tuck and roll.
Maybe, but that's if he's at, because these look like tilt walls. These look like pre-made concrete walls, which are usually 15 to 18 feet. Some of your bigger ones go up to like 24 and 30 feet. But this does look like a pre-made concrete wall, because these look like the tie points where you would hook up your cables for the crane into. Philly Road Tech says no handrails. Well, they started to get handrails over here. Typically on a job like this, handrails aren't going to be installed immediately. And especially this looks like a roof. You're not going to have handrails on a roof. You won't have anything on the roof until they actually have the concrete or mortar guys come out and do the actual fancy look design wall on the outside. So when we do stuff like that, you have to be tied off at all times. Normally you're going to be required to have a yo-yo, which is just a long box that has a steel cable or a rope in it that winds up, and when you yank it too hard, it locks up. But again, these guys aren't even wearing any harnesses right now. This dude's not even trying to hold the steel for him, and if a good breeze comes by, that piece of steel is gone.
That must be that guy's hammer I'm seeing hanging there.
Yeah, that's his hammer. So this one is just this is an accident waiting to happen right here. Because I have had sheets like this on a light day with just a good quick breeze that'll throw you. It'll
oh yeah, dude.
Quick. It'll
try carrying. Oh, I was gonna say I've carried freaking 1/2-inch sheets of plywood, 4x8 sheets of plywood or OSB, and trying to carry those because we're sheeting the side of the house or sheeting the roof, all that stuff. And during the winter, we're actually here in Central Oregon. We're really, 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 really windy, dude. I've had sheets of plywood that damn near picked me up and ran away with me.
Imagine doing that with something that will cut through your gloves and weighs less than a sheet of plywood. We had an incident. I told this dude to go home because he wasn't listening to me. We're trying to get this piece of decking down, this steel, and we were getting 25, 30 mile an hour winds. And technically you're not even supposed to work in that. And I told my boss, we're going to get this one down and go home. I had to be the grown up there, which doesn't make any damn sense. But we already had the steel up. I told our other guy, screw what we have left down so it doesn't fly anywhere. Just take some drilling screws, punch them into the steel, into the already welded down stuff, and we'll go home. And this dude, I couldn't get this. We had a tit on the steel, so I couldn't slide the board. I kept trying to pick it up, and it wouldn't go. He got his in place, and I told him, put it down. I need to get over here so I can pick it up and slide it with me. And he wouldn't pick it. He just kick it. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna kick it. It's not fucking working. We're fighting the wind right now. So I dropped my side gently, put it down, and I'm like, hey, you need to put your side down. And he was like, I'm not putting it down. So I start walking on it. And he's shaking this, trying to shimmy it while I'm standing on this sheet. These sheets have cut through steel cable before. So he finally says, screw it, throws it down while I am standing on this board, and I lost it, dude. I start screaming, go home, get the hell off my job site with more F-bombs. Get the hell out of here. My foreman's just laughing at me like, no, he's training to be my lead, dude. You need what he says is going to happen. He's got more experience than any of y'all have here. So if he's getting pissed off at you like this, you need to go home. Like, I'll clock you out, leave. So when you do this stuff, it's so risky. Now, the odds of it really bowing down, it's there, especially with it being cut. But I wouldn't risk this at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, so it is possible to walk over that like that. Is it smart? Is it safe? Probably no on both accounts. But even like I said, being in construction, working around old salts, dude, I've seen these fools do some of the most ridiculously crazy things that I'm just like looking at it and I'm like, I hope you never expect me to do anything like that.
Yeah, like we had one who would climb the beams, which you're not supposed to do anymore. You're not. They still have some companies that train that. But we had 180 pounds of nothing but muscles, like 5'6", just this itty bitty little guy. And he knew he could climb the beams up. And he did that one day to show us. And I'm like, you expect me to do that? Eventually, I told him, no. What do you mean, no? I'm fat, I'm heavy, I'm slow, and I'm carrying more equipment than most of y'all because I am fat and heavy and slow. So he's got the required amount of tools on him. I have my required amount plus about 30 pounds of bolts on me almost all the time. And I can't do a pull-up. So I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's like, and I have from the home construction point of view, you have people, dudes up there while we're rolling trusses, walking plates, at the top of a freaking, 2-story wall on the plate of, a skeleton wall that's not even braced up, but the trusses and all that stuff. They're walking on top, freaking climbing over the trusses, and they're not tied off. They're not doing anything. They're rolling around up there with a nail gun. Then, like, there was a video I saw, I think last week. It was of a framer. He was sheeting a roof, but it was a 12-pitch roof. So this was almost like a straight, up and down pitch roof. And this dude's not tied off or anything like that, holding on with one hand, nail gun in the other, and or he had it hanging on a raptor hook too. But he's pulling the sheets up, throwing these sheets up there, hanging on, sliding them up, nailing it off, and dude, like monkey shit.
No, good. I am A-OK on that crap. Now I can expect Foreman to eventually require that because he has set an impossible standard for normal people. But let's not forget the guys that were like this in the old days that got used to this crap were
they didn't live as long.
Well, they didn't live as long, but they were also on a lot of cocaine.
Yeah. So everything had cocaine in it.
A lot of cocaine. Yep. But moving on, a Washington man was arrested for allegedly stealing a 400-pound slide and mounting it to his child's bunk bed in his home. They say allegedly, but they have photos of him with the slide.
Innocent until proven.
Oh, yeah. Now, y'all got to see this dude's mugshot. Athen, would you be so kind?
Oh, yeah. Forgot. I got to do that.
Yeah, unfortunately. Oh.
He doesn't look like
this dude allegedly stole this slide.
So off a playground? That's got to be off. So, I mean, kid was at the playground. He's like, Dad, I want that. And dude's like,
Okay.
Not your homie.
There's not a lot going on in this guy's head right now.
Burbank, California. That kind of. There we go.
There's not a lot happening right here, right now. Look at this empty, cross-eyed drone of a stare. Like he's got the military's 1,000-yard stare down, except for the fact he's not looking straight ahead. He's looking at his nose.
But it says he's a Washington man.
Yeah, Washington, not Florida.
But it says he's Alan Burke or whatever from Burbank. Burbank is in California, unless Washington's got a Burbank also. But
this Washington man is accused of stealing this 400-pound slide from a playground and mounting it to his child's bunk bed in his mobile home. Dustin Allen Bushnell, 30 years old, of Burbank, was arrested Tuesday on a charge of possession of stolen property by Pasco County Police. Detective Julie Lee had been investigating reports of stolen catalytic converters late last month, and that led the case to the home of Bushnell. Lee, with the help of other detectives, executed a search warrant at Bushnell's home and found a gigantic slide as well as the catalytic converters. Slide had been taken from the playground in December, and the slide had been repainted, sawed off at the top, and mounted to a bunk bed. Pasco police arrived on scene and recovered the slide. Bushnell was arrested and booked into Walla Walla County Jail on a charge of possession of stolen property. He has not yet been charged with stealing the catalytic converters, as the investigation is still going on.
So, the whole thing of stealing catalytic converters, I don't understand why people do it. Extracting the platinum and palladium out of catalytic converters isn't like a simple process. You have to know a little bit about chemistry. And judging by that dude, he doesn't look like he knows that much about chemistry. So, because like to be able to extract that, you have to be able to do things like make aqua regia, and you might be able to do it by electrolysis, but yeah. Either way, I don't understand why people. You can get 75 a piece. I guess if you're just recycling the catalytic converters themselves and not trying to get the palladium or platinum out of it. But yeah, I guess. But they're going to be checking if there's a string of catalytic converters going missing, and you come in with a ton of catalytic converters, and they're like, So
I wonder who's been stealing catalytic converters. Could it be you? No, couldn't be you. Oh, was it you, Gunny? Did you steal catalytic converters? Did you steal them? I'm doing the show. Stop. Stop. Oh, God. He always has to make an appearance. Always, even when he has a friend. Stop. Down. Council with villagers are pleading people to stop leaving erotic books in this phone box library. Yes. The parish council has issued a request to villagers to stop putting erotic fiction in a communal library following a number of X-rated books being removed from the converted telephone box. Stop leaving your smut, people. Officials complained after several saucy books were removed from the converted public telephone box in the quaint village of Hurstbourne, Tarrant Hants. The whodunit mystery has gripped the village as it remains unclear which sly local has been adding the books to the kiosk, which sits next to a school playground. Now the unknown owner of the books has been warned to find another outlet for the collections of erotic fiction. Hurstbourne Tarrant Parish Council issued a plea to residents earlier this week on Facebook, writing, "We love our red phone box library on Church Street, but we don't love salacious adult literature being left in there." So whoever's doing this, if you're reading this, please don't leave any more inappropriate books.
So it's next to a school, right?
It's next to a playground.
A playground. Okay. So, all right. I was going to say, if it's next to a school, like if it's like a, middle school, high school type thing, I know exactly who the culprit is. But
That's
so,
one
it's
of them kids finding their mom's collection.
yeah, but it's near a playground. That's a little bit trickier. So
I think you're still right there.
yeah,
I do think you're still right there. I think one of the kids is like, I found mommy's books and they want us to donate books to this little red box. Mom probably saw the Facebook post, saw the books that were being dropped in there, looked in her private stash real quick and went, oh, shit. Timmy, did you get into mommy's book collection again? So don't leave your Playboys in the little red box. The hell? How did this pop up twice?
because you clicked it twice.
I guess so. I don't know. We had the boyfriend roller coaster up twice for some reason. Yeah. Florida man. Yes, it's time for the Florida man. Everybody's favorite super idiot. I was going to say superhero, anti-hero, something like that. I'm like, no, he's not a hero. He's just entertaining as all hell.
Well, the anti-hero.
Yeah, he's close to an anti-hero, but he is not that smart or cunning or funny.
Well, he's pretty funny.
He's pretty funny for, what happens to him. But yes, Florida man pulls out dank gummies instead of his ID after nearly hitting a gas pump. Yes, Athen, your favorite type of gummies. Florida man in Florida, which is still illegal to have. Collier County, Florida. A Florida man who nearly hit a gas pump is pulled out a package of dank gummies instead of his driver's license to show a deputy who was trying to help him, according to the Collier County Sheriff's Office. Deputies said they were called to a gas station on Pine Ridge Road in Naples shortly before midnight on March 1st because witnesses said a suspicious man had nearly hit a gas pump and appeared to be under the influence. Records show Demisio Lopez saw the deputy and immediately asked for help, calling AAA because his car wouldn't start, even though the keys were not in the ignition at that time. Yes. Lopez said he didn't have the keys of the vehicle, but then rummaged through his pockets and pulled out the keys, according to the report.
Hold on. So with some of the newer vehicles, however, the key doesn't have to be in the vehicle. It just has to be close to the vehicle, and you push the button.
Do you think Demisio Lopez with his dank gummies has the money for a fancy car with a push start button?
I don't know.
The deputy then asked Lopez for his driver's license, so he started rifling through his pockets again, and this time pulled out a small green package labeled dank gummies with cannabis infused written on it as well. The deputy asked if Lopez had just pulled out THC gummies, and Lopez claimed it was normal candy, but when he was asked to hand over the package, the deputy saw that it was labeled as containing 500 milligrams of THC. Deputy said Lopez also had a package of medicated nerves ropes containing 400 milligrams of THC. Lopez claimed his girlfriend had a medical marijuana card due to a cancer diagnosis, according to the affidavit. At that point, records show Lopez was taken into custody and a small baggie of cocaine was found on his person, in addition to the THC-infused candy.
He could have probably gotten away with it on the gummies.
Yes, I agree. He probably could have gotten away with it on the gummies. Probably. The cocaine. The cocaine is what screwed him.
Yep.
What really screwed him was he was trying to start his car without the keys. We know your girlfriend wasn't the one taking those medical marijuana candy.
He's just in the car pushing on the ignition. It won't start.
We knew when you said, "Oh, the car won't start." Oh, there's my keys. Those candies weren't meant for your girlfriend. Somebody else has been dipping into that stash.
But I mean, you have to be pretty stoned to be that forgettable, though.
Oh yes. You have been there several times, but yes.
Well, I get there occasionally, but
You get there most of the time when you game.
he needs to move to Oregon.
He needs
Well,
to
that's
move
towards
to-
the end of the night when I get to that point, but you know.
We do have a follow-up, though, from last week. If y'all remember, the couple that swerved to avoid the flying couch on the highway, that ticket actually did get dismissed. So,
What ticket
good.
got dismissed?
The police officer that was trying to fine the couple that swerved to avoid a couch that had fell off a truck on the Florida highway, they the $166 ticket got dismissed.
Oh, okay. Okay, because that was a bullshit ticket.
Yes. So we did have a follow-up for that, which shouldn't have needed a follow-up in the first place, but people are stupid. If you remember this one, this we covered months and months ago, where Florida was looking to use an intel program to determine if people were going to commit a crime before they committed it. And they had actually been breaking into homes. They had been getting warrants. They had been harassing people that they thought were a high risk at committing a crime. They are actually being sued for that program harassing people finally, which is good because they had put out this program. If you don't remember, they put out this program and its whole purpose was like Futurama. It was supposed to be I
was like, I can't remember the name of the movie, and I think this was the problem the first time we talked about it, but there's like an entire Tom Cruise movie based around this entire premise.
Yeah, it was. They utilized it to try and predict people that were going to be a risk for committing crimes so they could follow them. And instead of like watching them and thinking, okay, he might commit a crime, we need to keep eyes and tabs on him. Instead of being watchers and observers, they would go and harass the hell out of these people. In fact, they did it multiple times without warrants and were getting lawsuits from just that. They kept attempting to get warrants to go into people's homes. They would harass people that were on probation, on parole, even before they had done anything. And they thought it was so beneficial. They thought it was going to be great, but there were so many people. And of course, it was people of color that they were attacking. But now they are actually being sued for violating the people's rights through the intelligence-based policing program.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, it's like using this kind of, predictive software, because I understand we are moving towards a point in technology where this kind of stuff is actually going to be a thing and be effective and all that stuff, and relatively accurate. I'd assume, and maybe at some point like extremely accurate. But I think the way this kind of thing should go is if this algorithm, this software, this AI flags someone as, hey, this person's high risk for committing a crime, instead of like what you're saying, trying to get freaking warrants, harassing them, doing all that stuff, just a freaking subtle, clandestine, just observe, park a person a block down the street on the corner to watch and see and all that stuff. That way, if there is the likelihood of a crime, they're there to intervene, but don't go any further than that. I think if they'd have done it,
I fully agree with you there.
I think if it had been done that way, it would have been less,
problematic. Less harassment.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been beneficial if they would have done it that way. I think it could have been beneficial if they did it that way. However, with the way they were doing it, and police, I've noticed, don't get me wrong, I do like to support the police. I like to support the non-corrupt police, non-aggressive, non-harassing police, the ones that aren't going to shoot your dog. But I've seen too many cops that they get that power and it goes straight to their head.
Mm-hmm.
And they become assholes.
But
they think they can get away with everything, and they've been doing this for years.
So, and that's been a thing all throughout the entirety of history. Like the least bit of power, power is corruption. They go hand in hand. You have power that leads. It's almost impossible to have an amount of power and not be corrupt. Just like if you're playing a video game and you have freaking admin privs to be able to do it, it is so hard to not abuse those admin privileges. Next thing you know, you've ruined the game because you're spawning all kinds of shit in that you don't really need to do. Like, it's that kind of thing. And then to get to what April over here saying.
He's talking about when I got admin privileges in Ark and I started fighting a shit ton of dinosaurs and dragons for that matter.
Mm-hmm. So, but April here said, I heard a good argument about AI. AI works based on its programming. Who should control that programming? What if China wins the race for global control of AI? This would be a better question for my other show, ATM.
Yeah, this would be better for that.
So, but I'm going to get a little bit into it, not too in depth. So with AI, yes, AI is based off of programming. It's going to initially completely and entirely go off of programming. And what it means by AI works off, it's based off its programming is in the programming. I mean, that Will Smith movie is kind of a very good example on it. The rules are going to be programmed into the software. So that software is going to be programmed as this AI can do this AI can't do this, until we start to get into the realm of quantum computing, which then that's going to throw a whole big old huge wrench into all kinds of things and change everything. Because at that point, on quantum computers, the computers can literally make their own decisions. So, yeah, and we're actually really close to that. So that's scary. But
I've got 3 topics left. We're going to try and knock them out real quick so we can open up for questions. This first one is a Florida Senate is filing a bill to make assault on journalists a hate crime. Now, I can kind of understand it to an extent because journalists do get attacked a lot by random peoples. However, I've seen a lot of journalists and paparazzi are very bad with that. The invasion of privacy. I can't agree with making it a hate crime for the fact that some of these journalists are pushing the boundaries of comfort. So if you come onto my property and you're trying to take photos, I'm going to hurt you. If you stand on the street and try and take photos, there's not a lot I can do to you. I can understand making that a bigger crime or pushing for the assault charges there. But making it a hate crime to attack a journalist, especially with how invasive some of these journalists get, I can't support making this because they're going to push that button. They're going to push that boundary. They're going to do what they can to stir up whoever they're investigating to get that magic photo, to get that story, because now they have an ultimate goal. Can I get this dude to commit a hate crime? Because that's news. That's a topic they want to cover. Can I push this dude to the point where he's committing a hate crime? So I cannot support this bill being passed. Any comments, devil's advocate?
I was kind of typing during that, so I didn't hear part of it.
All right, moving on then. Florida is suing Biden. That's right. Florida is now suing people, not just Texas. But Florida is suing Biden to stop him from his immigration directives, which, if you don't know, they're basically wanting to open the borders up, which is it's a nightmare. It's a bad idea. It's a really bad idea. The amount of drug cartel, kidnapping, murders, rapes that we have. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say the whole opening the borders and letting free immigration come in. So that's going to open up to, like you said, the cartels and, all that stuff. The problem is moving into so the biggest drug trade that there will be in America is you're going to have like cocaine and
human trafficking.
Human trafficking, marijuana, those kind of things. So marijuana being legalized throughout most of America is going to make a big hit on that. But then there might be violence because of that.
Oh, I can definitely see that.
And then you're going to end up, and then a lot of these states like, Oregon has decriminalized cocaine and meth and heroin and all that stuff and actually legalized mushrooms and those things. So I think that's going to end up having some effects on it. I think that might be interesting if that happened. That would be scary.
I can agree with legalizing and decriminalizing some of these for helping with these problems a little bit. But we're going to see a spike. Houston, Texas is the largest city for human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
and that's actually where I live. I get Amber Alerts about 3 times a week about a kid being kidnapped. That's how bad it is here. And I think with trying to legalize, and let's not forget that children in cages, they're at 750% capacity right now. So yeah, there's that information for you. But trying to open up the borders entirely, we have an immigration process. Now, when America was founded, we believed in the immigration process, and I've covered that quote multiple times. If you believe I'm coming to an American and becoming an American in every facet of the word, then by all means come in. But we have a lot of people coming in with divided loyalties. We have a lot of people that are coming in with desire to do harm, kidnappings, drug pushing, because not every state, until every state decriminalizes or starts legalizing, we're going to still have a huge spike. Let's not forget that we have had multiple terrorists come through the Mexico and Canadian borders. So I think opening borders is a huge mistake.
And we can't act like America having immigration, rules and laws is a thing, because look at pretty much any other country. Try to immigrate to Canada. Try to immigrate to Australia. You can't even move to Australia and become an Australian citizen unless you own land in Australia.
Nope, not at all. You can't. From what I understood, for Australia, you can own land there, but you can only live there for a maximum of 2 or 5 years. And then you have to leave. You can't become an Australian resident unless you were born in Australia. In order to become a Ireland resident, my brother's buddy was trying to move there. You had to have $10,000 in the bank. You had to have a job, a home, and the waiting process was 5 years or 10 years. If you get caught trespassing in Mexico, it's an immediate arrest. If you get caught trespassing in Brazil, I believe it's the death penalty. One of them south of America is a death penalty. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. If you get caught there, you're just done. So America does not even have the most strict immigration laws.
Yeah, and it's like
by a long shot, mind you.
And why do we have to be the odd man out? Why do we have to be the ones who are like, oh yeah, let's just let it? Because people are misinterpreting our, a home for everyone. If you're poor, if you need, come to America. But even then, when that was a thing, you still had to qualify to come in.
Well, I did share, every time that video comes up, I share it. There's a professor that shows how immigration works with gumballs. And he says we take this percentage and this percentage. It shows the rest of the country that's still struggling in poverty, and we don't even make a dent. The amount of people we would have to take in, billions of people, in order to make any kind, and we don't have the room for that kind of crap. It would take hundreds of millions of people actively. We would have to take in, I think he said, 1 million a day in order to make a dent in these countries' poverty.
Well, let's
and instead of trying to help them in our home, we need to help them in their home.
But then people complain about that also. I mean, so
you're overstepping fucking coming into our country illegally. I can understand coming through the process, doing everything you need to do. We don't have that strict of a process. You bitch about the time constraints, you bitch about all this and that. We don't have, and even legal immigrants that have come here before say the process works, believe in it, and I support this process. This needs to happen. The people that are coming in illegally and just getting free money, free food, free housing, free phones, all this crap, they're a hamper on us as Americans.
So, you were mentioning America, we don't have the room to be able to import, billions of people. Technically, if we were to switch the entire population over to an entirely vegan population and eliminate all ranching and, farming of food animals, then you would be able to free up lots of land, because you can do food, vegetable type crops, vegan type crops on a lot less area than you can animals. So then there'd be enough room to be able to move. I'm just saying that it is possible, because if the entire planet, if we were an entirely vegan, people, like the entire population of the planet.
All in favor of kicking Athen off of Earth, say aye.
No, I'm not saying these are my ideas or these are my feelings, but this is actually true. If the entire planet were completely vegan, it was entirely vegan, we didn't raise farm animals at all for food or any reason for that matter, right? The population of the planet would be able to fit into, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like the size of New York. You could fit the entire population in that small of an area. Granted, you wouldn't have very much personal space, but but it would be actually possible.
I can understand that. I can see how that's possible. Do I agree with it? Hell no.
Well, no, but it is.
Let's not forget that the population is consistent or constantly growing, and with the improvements of medications, hospitals, and everything like that, plagues and sicknesses and diseases are not wiping out nearly as many as we reproduce actively. So we have a constantly growing populace versus during the Black Plague, population control was simple.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it a little more complicated. But no, I am not going vegan, and I intend on having the Second Amendment ranch, and I'm not going to let people just live on my property.
Well, no, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that this is my choice. I'm not saying that, hey, we should all be vegan. That way, we free up so much land mass on the planet for our growing population. I
think you just gave that vegan teacher chubby.
In generality, that would be a good decision if we intend to continue our population rising. However, that's not going to happen, and we have to deal with the consequences of that not happening moving forward, trying to figure out a way around it. All I'm saying is economically and all that stuff, it's been proven scientifically that, if that were the case, so many things on the planet would change. You'd have
here's a better idea. Remove the warning labels from everything. Let natural selection come back into play, and let the weak wean themselves out.
I know, but we've grown into this reality that we're in now, where that won't work because the creators of product are culpable for the outcomes of the end users of that product. So
I think there needs to be a law where, and I've said this before, a really clause. Like you do something stupid with their product, like, I don't know, super glue your hair. The lawyer for the company can come into the court and go, really? And leave.
But, and I completely agree with you, but these are the problems with such a large population. When you get to the larger your population, the larger the group of people, the harder it is to manage. Smaller groups, smaller sects of people generally tend to have much fewer problems than larger sects. Kind of. You still have issues with, dictatorships and those kinds of things. And it's impossible to avoid all these problems that we speak of as a person. We're going to continue rising.
Let me hit our last topic, and then we can come back if we need to, or we can open up the questions. So let me knock this out. A New York landlord is homeless and unable to evict his deadbeat tenants thanks to COVID laws. Sharita Patterson allegedly owes $14,700 in back rent, but bought a new car during the pandemic. A Brooklyn homeowner is unable to evict an allegedly deadbeat tenant because of the new state housing laws. Claims she has been forced to live in her car for weeks. Shauna Eccles says in court papers she sleeps on the couches of friends and relatives whenever she can, and in her four-door Toyota when she can't, after fighting and failing for months to evict Sharita Patterson from the two-family home in Carnegie. There's no way I can stay there is no one I can stay with until I am able to evict, and all of my money covers the mortgage, water bills, and property taxes. If anything gets cut off, it will be considered an illegal eviction, and I have no additional funds to rent an apartment. Thanks to the state's pandemic eviction moratorium, Radium, and recently enacted housing regulation, Patterson has at least until May 1st before any New York housing court would even consider a case against her. That's because she checked the box on hardship declaration form, claiming she's been financially impacted by COVID-19 and is unable to move. Under the new rules, New Yorkers have until February 26th to fill out the form, which automatically pauses their evictions. Patterson, who allegedly owes $14,700 in back rent on the two-bedroom pad, bought a new car during the pandemic, according to court papers. So this woman that is unable to afford rent bought a new car, can't pay her rent. I have had to pay rent this entire time. Not once have we gotten any leniency on anything. All our taxes and bills are coming through just like normal. So if we got screwed out of work, we'd be boned because we'd still have to pay. And I can honestly say that, yeah, they would, if this company would evict the hell out of us during this pandemic.
But no,
I can agree with.
The truth is, in this current situation, like there is a stop on evictions and all that stuff. Like if for whatever reason you can't actually afford to pay your rent because due to effect from COVID-19, they can't legally evict you and all that stuff. However, with that being said, you can 100% absolutely expect for any back rent that you owe through this period where they can't evict you to come due once this non-eviction period is up. And if you don't pay it up, you will then at that point be evicted. And you know what? At that point, they may just evict you because they're like, no, fuck you, you're $14,000 in debt. So it's like this lenience and this, sanctuary type thing that is going on with this is for people who, suddenly lost their job or lost hours or whatnot because of this entire crazy shit and are behind a month, maybe a month and a half on rent, and you're trying to keep up, you're trying to work it. But
well, I can see you being several months behind, but buying a new car, I can't justify allowing the tenant to stay and requiring. If you're going to have these laws where I can't evict you, but as the homeowner, I'm required to pay for your water, your electricity, your all this, I can't justify screwing the homeowner out and having them have to give up their house to pay for you to have a house. They did this so back ass words. If you're going to do something like that, you need to halt everything for everybody.
There's also, and I'm sure that lady, she'd get the same leniency if she tried, but apparently it's not working for her. But there's also, there's always been rules for squatters. Like, oftentimes it's hard but this is more in certain locales too. But it's been hard for owners of homes to get people out of the house because, they'll squat there and they'll be like, no, this is my home. If you kick me out, I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to be all that stuff. So people can sit in a house for months upon months.
And there's like a certain period of time where the squatter actually wins the home. Like if you're there for like 7 years, no, I'm burning that bitch to the ground. I'll get the insurance claim, but I am burning that fucker down.
Yep. So
I don't agree with squatter laws are a cancer. I can understand you have hardships. I can understand you need a place safe to stay. But if you're just living there, trashing this place, and a lot of squatters don't care about the property because it's not theirs. Now, some squatters have taken care of it, respected it, and tried to maintain the home like an actual home, but not all of them. In fact, the majority don't. But if you come in and you squat in my property and think that it's your home too, and I'm paying all these bills, no, everybody has to pay. There's two guarantees in life: taxes and death. And if you don't get the hell out of my house, I can guarantee you one of those is coming your way.
Well, there's a good example of this whole squatters thing here in the town that I live in, Prineville, a little town. There's this old dude. He was in his 80s. He was a veteran. He was in the Marines. I think it was like Korean War is what he was saying. He told me a couple stories, some crazy stuff. But either way, he owned a house here in town, right? And he was getting old and senile, and his family, he didn't have any family and all that stuff. And he let people stay with him at that house. And then they let people come stay with them, and a whole bunch of people started living there. And then it came to the point where he wasn't even able to live at his own house anymore. And this house turned into a trap house, and there was nothing he could do or anyone could do to evict these people from that house. So, and then it became the trap house, and it ended up getting evicted, and he lost his house because of this entire situation.
No, I can't agree with that. If I pay the bills, if I pay the mortgage, if I pay the rent, whatever I have, and somebody moves in and they don't want to leave and they're causing problems and shit, I will physically remove you.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't physically remove you and the police refuse to support me in my endeavor, things will escalate very, very quickly.
So Aaron's asking the tenants or the manager. I don't know what that's in regards to. And Dean sounds like crack house. That's what a trap house is. Just, yeah.
But
trap house is a place where people go and do drugs. But go ahead.
we got a few minutes, so we're going to open up for questions like normal. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, bitches, gripes, rights, or last alibis, go ahead and ask them now. I tried to save a little longer, but failed miserably. But now would be your time to ask any questions you want. Yeah, I can't. Squatter laws are a joke, and I can guarantee you, if I find problems like that on the ranch, it will be dealt with very aggressively. I understand hardships happen to everybody. Don't get me wrong. And if you're polite and you ask me, hey man, I know you got a cabin on the property that you rent out. Can I stay here for a week to try and get back on a month to get back on my feet? Cool. Okay. Stay out of sight, stay out of mind, help out a little bit on the ranch, do what you can. Okay. But you're not going to live there, and you need to be finding a job, and you will have to prove to me you're applying for jobs. You need to prove to me you are actively working to better yourself, not just free life. I have bullshit I have to deal with. Why do I have to pay for you to you've got a month, and then either you're gone, or you need to prove that you're actively making progress. But squatter laws are a hamper to people that actively contribute to society, and in fact that should show a lot of people with where your taxes go towards this $1.9 trillion. We got like 8% of that for COVID relief. 8% of $1.9 trillion. That's ridiculous. We should all be getting thousands of dollars, not just chump change. And then, paying for Section 8 housing, paying for food stamps, paying for all this crap. It's you're taxing the people basically to go and live like that, to the point where they're going to have to sell off everything they have, and eventually they're going to have to go live in Section 8 housing. They're going to have to get food stamps. They're going to be struggling to get by. And that's honestly what the Democrats want, but that's getting political, and we don't like to do that. But if y'all have any questions, please, now's your time. See you in a little bit, Carl. Anything, Bueller? I done told y'all. Every week we're gonna be doing this.
So my thoughts on like the whole ranch thing has always been more. I'd like to do something like that, but set it up as kind of more of a.
How are people getting a third stimulus? I'm still waiting on the second stimulus. I got the $600 and I'm waiting on the $1,400.
We got ours a couple days ago.
Mine said it'll be in like the 17th.
Because for some reason,
April's saying she's waiting for a third stimulus.
So the $1,400 one they're just talking about, right?
Oh, I got $600, and the only other stimulus I know of is the $1,400. I didn't know we had a second one.
Oh yeah, there were 3 of them, but I didn't get any of them, and I didn't get this. Oh, I haven't gotten any of them, but yeah, $1,400 a person. So we ended up getting like $4,200 this one.
What was the second one?
And that was on top of the $8,000 in tax returns that we just got.
What was the second one?
That one was like $1,600, I think.
What the flying fuck? How did I get that one?
So no,
I didn't even know that one was existing.
because there was one that happened earlier on. Every person got
$600.
no. There was one earlier on that everyone got like $1,200 if you filed taxes. So,
That's
and
wild.
then there was the other one that was $600 per person. And that was the one when we ended up getting $1,800 because she got for both the kids and herself. And this one, which is $1,400 a person.
Yeah, I've got to file taxes this year. I didn't have to file taxes last year because I was still on work comp. And from everybody I asked before you said, oh, he doesn't file taxes. No, I filed my taxes when I have to. Unfortunately, when I was on work comp, when I asked H&R Block, they said because it was work comp and it's all taxed and all dealt with, or it's all dealt with beforehand, you don't have to file taxes. And I asked around. I was asking questions, so I didn't just skip my taxes for a year.
So yeah, Carl Albertson. There was a $1,200 one, $600 one, and $1,400. And the $1,200 one was the one where you only got if you had filed taxes. Okay, so kids didn't get that one. That was just people who filed taxes. And then the $600 one was every American.
Everybody. Yeah.
For whatever reason, I still didn't even get that one. And then this one, I didn't get either. So
yeah. So all right. Well, it looks like nobody's got any questions, so I guess we're gonna wrap up. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as always, we appreciate you coming out on these lovely Sunday evenings and joining us here on 1700 somewhere. Please go and check out all the other shows that we have on the network. You can go to the Whoa Entertainment Facebook page, and there's a list of all the shows there that you can find.
I'll link it.
We have a show every day of the week now. Several on Sundays. I know we've got 2 on Sundays or 2 on Saturdays.
We've got 2 on Sunday.
You can look.
No, there's 3 on Sundays actually.
Yeah, you can go look on because me and Carl are starting a show now, another show now.
So,
but you can go and check all those out, and all of them are different. None of them are the same. We have people that like to play games. We have the L-trained fighters that sometimes play games, but they do a lot of media based news, whereas we do the goofy news. They'll do like video game news. The Second Amendment Ranch, which is working towards creating the actual ranch itself for the education and betterment of the populace with firearms and the Second Amendment. We have the Whoa Radio Show. We have Simple Man doing the HTX. I can never remember the name of the show. Yeah, just there's too many shows for me to remember. But go check them out. Tell them we sent you. Please give a reaction.
I linked the WO page. The show list is on the 10 post, so you can go ahead and check there.
No. You can go look everything up there. But we always appreciate y'all coming out. Be sure to give us a reaction other than the thumbs up and a share, and we look forward to seeing you next week. As always, I'm Cameron.
I'm Athen. Make sure you check out the WOHQ.
Okay. And
you missed your line, bro.
well, I was expecting you to say something more. You just kind of like trailed off. I'm like, okay.
I was just like, I'm Athen. Make sure you check out the WOHQ.
And it's 1700 somewhere.
Y'all have a wonderful evening.